Welcome to Annette on Life, Liberty, and Happiness, a podcast where I talk about the Constitution, history, politics, and pretty much anything else I want to talk about. This podcast can be found on iTunes, Stitcher, Spotify, Amazon Music, youtube.com/Annette Talks, and AnnetteTalks.com. And today is going to be one of those anything else I want to talk about days, because we are now in 2021, which has started out to look even worse than 2020 so far. And so I decided pretty quickly, actually it was somebody else's idea, but I said, yes. I said, what topic should I talk about for 2021? And someone said, how about maintaining a sense of humor? And I said, oh yeah. So the first thought that came to mind was I need to get Steve Soelberg to come on, because Steve Soelberg is a really funny guy. And he was on my last podcast, LDS Unmarried Life, and we had a lot of fun. And I've seen his show a few times. So hi, Steve.
Hey, thanks for having me again. Good to see you again, too.
You too. And so I just wanted to let the audience know how we know each other. So you were on my podcast last time, which was, gosh, I think it's been almost 2 years, year and a half, something like that. Anyway.
Yeah.
But you went to school with my sister, Jane.
That's right. Yeah. We
and
sang
Jane,
together in a choir.
Yeah, and Jane says to tell you.
It was called what was it called?
I don't know.
Off Broadway or something like that. We would do little snippets and dance around. And I didn't know anything about dancing, so yeah.
If you're not watching this on YouTube, I recommend that you do, because Steve's doing some little dancing moves.
There was nothing like a dame. That was one of them that we sang. Oh, hello.
Exactly.
Camera up there. Who do I talk to?
So Jane said to tell you hi, and that she said you need to watch her videos. You know, she's made 3 Star Wars music videos now. This is a plug. This is a plug for Jane Greaves that you can find on YouTube, Jane Greaves Productions. And she's done...
I'll watch them right after this. This sounds awesome.
Excellent. And I'm in 2 of those. If I Could Be Princess Leia, I'm one of the Leias, FYI. And then she did I Want a Man, a Mandalorian. And before that was her most recent one. And then before that was Christmas on Cloud City. And that was me. It was Jane, but I was there as well. I had to plug myself. They're all a lot of fun. Jane writes and then sings her own songs and gets a bunch of friends involved, and it's a lot of fun. So
I want to be involved someday. Just send that out to Jane. You guys are in Denver still?
I am. Jane's in Texas.
Oh, that's what I thought. Okay. You were visiting.
Yes. Well,
despite the end of the world.
Right. She was just here recently, but
I've traveled as well.
Yeah, so I'll pass that on. I'm sure she'll be listening to this. Jane, you heard this. Everybody heard it. Steve wants to be in one of your videos.
Please.
So everything is so like crazy. Just when you think, everyone's all excited about 2020 being over. Oh yeah, because 2020 was so terrible. It sucked so bad. And 2021 is going to be so good. And I'm thinking, I don't think there's any magic to like the calendar changing.
No.
And so far, it's proving to be really crazy. And so I think, there's a lot of things we have to do to maintain our sanity. But I think maintaining a sense of humor is one of my favorite things to do.
Right.
I can remember once when I was living in Arizona. I was actually at ASU at the time, and I had a moped. And I came outside one day, and my moped was gone. It had been stolen. And it was like, this is 91-ish. I'm really dating myself now. But, and my roommates came out and they looked at me, and I was so freaked out. I started cracking all of these jokes, and they were literally sat down and were busting a gut because I cannot remember any of them. But sometimes when you're in extreme stress, I don't know, do you find this when you're in an extremely stressful situation that sometimes the humor just like rolls out? Like that's like the coping mechanism of choice?
It's one of the best coping mechanisms you have. And it's so quick to diffuse a situation. Like, that sucks to have your moped stolen, especially when you're a college student. You have no money.
Yeah.
And so to have your thing that is probably your most expensive thing, it's like, what can I do other than just laugh at the stupidity of this?
I wish I could remember the jokes. I just remember looking over and my friends sitting on the sidewalk and just laughing so hard. Because, I was like, I don't know what I'm going to do right now. Like, I pictured them picking this thing up and taking it. And I just...
Yeah, who steals a moped? That's such a weird thing to steal.
And how many were there?
I always feel like mopeds look like you're riding on a toilet. Like, just the way that you're seated and you're just kind of like, here I am publicly. I mean, I think they're cool. At the same time, they have a toilet appeal, which takes some of the romance of it away.
Yeah. Yeah. Now I'm looking
Yeah,
back on those years.
not as
That's
cool to be like,
fondness.
ciao, I'm
Yeah.
on the toilet. Right?
All those times I thought I was so cool, and you saying that it looked like I was sitting on a toilet.
You were just sitting on a toilet. Really, they did you a favor. You didn't want everybody being like, here goes toilet, friend.
I'm never going to look at a moped in the same way.
They're a little, yeah. I mean, great gas mileage.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
save the world that way. So
You
I
would
still
hope it
think
does.
it'd be cool if I lived in a city that like, merited that type of thing. I mean, I live in Salt Lake City right now, so it's moped is a little silly.
Speaking of which,
Too much snow.
you are you doing any live performances? I didn't even like tell everybody who you are. Steve Soelberg, he's a professional stand-up comedian. And I've seen you a couple of times. Jane used to tell me, Steve's going to be in town. You got to come see him. And I missed you the first time, and I missed you the second time. But I caught you the third time. I was like, oh, that's the Steve dude that Jane's always telling me about. And I've seen you on Dry Bar Comedy. And yeah, you're just a funny guy. So what are you doing these days?
A lot of this, so much Zoom.
So much Zoom. Isn't it
So
great?
much Zoom. This is why, I mean, granted, this is my basement studio. Some people do the curtains and all out, and I've learned how to link my nice camera to my laptop, and I still don't have an incredible setup where this is sitting on pillows. So
So
I don't know
professional.
if that's the smartest situation, but
Well, the best is the green screen effect, right? And they start moving around and you can see the like
oh
little.
yeah, yeah, where you do the little. I have a few different green screen backgrounds where I use. I mean, where are they?
Again, people, if you're listening and you have a chance to look on YouTube, I would recommend that because there's a little visual comedy going on here.
I mean, these aren't great. This is like I did this one at the start of the pandemic. That was my green screen, and then I did this one because I was doing
Oh, yeah, that's a good one. Yeah, that's pretty good without a green screen. I mean, I can see a little of the edges around you, but not too bad.
Yeah, it's impressive, right? They do a good job. This is one we're talking about.
Oh, yeah,
We could have done that for Jane's stuff.
that's
And then
awesome.
this is if we're doing jokes, because look at freaky Tom Cruise. I think he's great. I don't know.
You have more interesting backgrounds than I do. I won't pull mine up now. They'd be boring, but is that like a Joshua tree?
Yeah, I took this picture. This is
Oh.
another interest that I like to do photography.
That's pretty cool.
All right, we'll go back. I also took this. There's a
Oh,
turtle in the wave.
that's nice. Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
That's like Moana. What city is that? Oh, okay. That's got to be Seattle then, right?
But we'll go back to my.
All right. Well, that was fun.
But yeah, so a lot of Zoom shows.
So your
But there are
sound got a
live
little
shows.
quiet just now. Did you touch your microphone or something?
Oh,
Yeah.
did my audio?
You got a little quieter. Yeah.
Oh, I did. Oh, probably because I went like this. Is it better?
No, I don't know. Something after you were messing with the backgrounds.
Oh, let me see.
Okay. Oh, there he goes. So that was Steve Soelberg, and I can say anything I want about him while he's off camera right now. And if you haven't watched any of his stuff, you go to Dry Bar Comedy and get the app. It's a lot of fun. A lot of good guys.
I don't know. Is it
He's
better now?
back. Keep talking and I'll see.
See if it gets better.
Okay.
Audio get better.
It got a little quieter. Like maybe you hit.
Oh, I'll just pump up this screen.
Oh, okay. There he goes again. But if you haven't listened to him the last time when he was on my podcast, which was LDS Unmarried Life, I can't remember which episode number, but he told stories about when he was at BYU. Oh, hi, Steve.
Hi. Too loud now or what?
No, it's about the same.
No difference. I'll just talk louder. Really?
No,
That's
okay,
so
okay.
weird.
All right,
Why
you're all
would it
right.
do that?
I'll let you know if you get quiet.
Yeah, sorry.
No,
Yeah.
you're good now. So maybe you're just sitting closer. I don't know.
Oh, okay. Yeah, could
All
be.
right.
Could be.
So are you doing any stand-up right now? Or are all the clubs closed or what's going on?
I mean, some clubs are open. So I live in Salt Lake City, so there's a club here called Wise Guys that all do, and they owner there has been tremendously sympathetic to my situation and any other comedian situation, where especially local comics, that way we don't have to travel like on, we can just drive. And so he has 3 clubs, and I've been booked at one of his 3 clubs every month of the pandemic, just doing shows that way. So I'll go to Ogden, I'll go to Salt Lake, I'll go to he has one down south of Salt Lake in West Jordan, and just kind of switch between those 3
Or
all
3 wise
pandemic
guys.
months. Yeah, so between that and doing Zoom shows and stuff like that, like I'll do colleges that way. And I've hit a few colleges where they're like, hey, we just need an entertainment night for our students, and because they can't assemble, they'll have Zoom shows. And so
How much harder is it? Because I do these episodes all the time where it's just me sitting there talking to the camera, so I'm kind of used to it. But you're used to a live audience. That's got to be hard not to have the laughter coming back at you.
Yeah, it's a little weird, but I've gotten used to it. Like I did a Zoom show. Yeah, what day is today?
Today's
Wednesday. Friday.
Uh-huh.
But it was weird because it was an in studio. So I do a lot of in studio ones where they're like, hey, we have a studio we want to use. But it was all the way up in Idaho Falls. So I had to drive up to Idaho Falls
wow.
to do a virtual show. There's a part of me that was like, it's just this. Right? But some of the virtual shows, they have a mic stand set up. It feels like a real thing. And I got my camera guy and my sound guy, and they're off and so I really am just trying to make them laugh. And if I can my assumption is that if I can make camera guy laugh, hopefully.
And the camera's not shaking or anything, right, when he's laughing?
Yeah, they have it on a tripod.
You can get that camera going,
Yeah, if it's like, this is good. Right. I like this awful show.
When you're at home by yourself and there's nobody to make laugh, can you like get a soundboard and like make the laugh track right there? Like, you can get laughs on demand. Even your sucky stuff, you just like hit a button. Like,
one of my buddies has one of those. He Rob Frey does virtual like game shows and stuff like that. So I'll use his studio as well because it's way better than my basement. And he has like a little laugh track button thing. He doesn't use it, but he was like, we could use it for you. And I have to admit, I was like, no, because the audience, I think, would immediately be like, what is happening? I think when it becomes this vapid thing, you expect it to be empty and just be like, oh, it should just be me laughing. And when you hear other people, you're like, am I watching Friends? Why is this?
Yeah. Oh, I know. It's been a long time since we've heard the canned laughter. But it just, I don't know how, it just seems like it'd be hard to like throw some jokes out there with absolutely no response and then just keep going.
The first few times you feel like you're bombing.
Uh-huh.
And you might even be. The tough thing is even, I think even as an audience, when we hear a joke without some people laughing, our mind goes, what's with this audience? And then you're on Zoom and you realize, oh, I'm the audience.
Right.
And so I think we've gotten more used to how bizarre it is. But yeah, the first while, every time I try a new joke, I was like, well, that didn't work. I finally realized I was like, nothing works. Just go forward with the confidence of an idiot.
Right.
Just be so, like, that sounds rude. But, there is a degree of confidence that you have to have that just says, I believe this is funny. And I don't care if you laugh or not.
Well, yeah,
this is into comedy theory.
You can tell, right? I mean, if people can tell if you get up there and you don't think you're funny.
Oh, yeah. If you don't believe in your jokes, no one's going to laugh at it. Comedy is never about if your joke is the funniest joke. It's all about if you connect with the crowd the most. And if the crowd feels connected to you, everything you say is hilarious. I mean, we love different comedians where if you have someone else tell their jokes, you ever hear like a little kid will be doing Jim Gaffigan's jokes and you go, yeah.
not quite the same.
Yeah, it's not the same. And you go, well, it's because I know Jim Gaffigan's jokes. And part of it is that, but part of it is also because Jim has created this rapport.
Right.
That he could say whatever he wants and you're going to be laughing.
And weren't you the one that told me that his wife writes a lot of his material?
Oh yeah, yeah. They're quite the dynamic team.
I think about that every time I watch Jim now, because you see him in movies where he's just playing a straight guy, not as opposed to gay, but straight as in not funny, right? And
Oh
and you're
yeah.
like, oh yeah, well he's a good actor, and then but he's not funny. And then my mind immediately said, I'm not in that part. He's not funny, right? He's not trying to be funny.
For
So
that role,
immediately
yeah.
my brain goes, yeah, he's probably not funny anyway because his wife writes all his jokes for. But I mean, his delivery is awesome. So obviously he is a funny guy.
Yeah, I mean, he did stand up for several years before he was married and learned the craft really well. I don't know what their breakdown on how much, who's writing what is, but yeah, they're a duo.
So who do you use? Okay, I consider myself to be fair to middling funny, and I have 3 kids at home that are 12, 11, and 10. They don't laugh at anything that I say, right? And so I'll be out or I'll be with Jane, and people are busting a gut because I'm being funny, and I'll go home and like, I can't practice any of my stuff on my girls at all because it's all. And so, like, who do you run your stuff across?
You know what? You have to work it into wherever you can. I mean, if you are working on a new joke, you do inevitably try to bring it up in conversation or whatever. A lot of times I'll run it past other comics. I have some select comedy friends that I'll run stuff past. But I hit my brothers up quite a bit, actually. Probably the most is my brothers. I'll just give them a call and be like, what do you think about this? And I have a joke called DJ Doula. So, excuse me. DJ Doula is about a friend of mine who wanted to have a playlist to listen to while they were giving birth. And I was like, you don't need a playlist. You need a DJ in there, A DJ doula, right? Who's just like, "Bah, bah, 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 who's ready to have a baby today?" Right? And all the typical DJ stuff where they're like, here comes a contraction. I want to hear you scream. That stupid stuff.
Push it, right? Push it.
Yes, exactly. A lot of salt and
Yeah.
pepper. Push it. And there was a part in the joke where the baby's giving birth, but the baby is breech, and my sister-in-law was like, "That is dicey. You can't joke about that because that's traumatic." And I was like, I don't know. I think I can. Like, I'm an idiot. And so, but my brother goes, you know what you need to do is just add the music to it. So the doctor goes, oh no, the baby's breech. And then DJ Doula plays, turn around every now and then you try to go feet first. And he's like, that would work,
Totally.
And it does, because it is a tense situation. And I mean, that's like what we're talking about on the podcast, right? There is tense situations in comedy, and then when you get the laugh, it diffuses it really quickly. I mean, some people still choose to be offended. That's kind of hard of the hard part of comedy. I do a joke about a church hymn.
I think I know this one.
I call it the pirate hymn song. And it's from when I left on my mission, and my dad said, I don't care what you sing, just don't pick the pirate hymn. And people often ask, like, they go, is this a true story? Absolutely. This is 100% true. My dad said, don't pick the pirate hymn. And I go, what one is the pirate hymn? And my dad goes, the one that goes, ooh. And I didn't know it. And I was like, what, him? And he's like, ooh. And my mom is cracking up. And my mom knows it. And so then my dad goes, who's on the Lord's side? Who? Now is the time you show. And this is the hymn, right? And I'm not changing the words. And there is this part where it goes, ooh. And it's weird.
So did you pick that hymn? Because I would have had to.
Unfortunately, the truth is I did not pick it. I wish I did, but I didn't because I wasn't as funny back then.
I would say you weren't funny back then, right?
I just wasn't. I didn't have, you know what it was? It was the confidence thing, right? I didn't have the confidence to be funny.
Is your family funny, or are you the only one, or you got brother?
No, they're hilarious. Yeah, yeah. My dad's really funny, and my mom always likes to laugh, and so it's like this good combination. And then my brothers are all very funny. I often have thought that I ended up doing stand-up comedy because I just stayed single the longest, kind of thing, where it's like,
Yeah, but and I know Jane's made this point to you. Kids have they be so much fodder for humor.
yeah,
Like
that's true.
have some kids and then you'll find out what I mean. Little Gaffigan, that's like half his stuff, right?
Yeah, being
You're
the
either
dad.
cursing or making jokes about it, or both. Some dirty jokes, I guess. But
For sure, sure. It's of course. I
I mean, they do dumb things. Jane and I always talk about how we never had any kind of cursing problem until we had kids, right? And you walk into the kitchen. I don't know how many times I've walked into the kitchen to something completely absurd, like oil covering the floor and, just bizarre things. And you're like, what the bleep, right? And so
yeah.
it's like that, or it's like you make jokes about it, or both. I'm sure some of my funniest stuff is coming upon things that like, I don't understand this. Like, I don't understand what's going on here. I never would have dreamt up the scenario my whole life the kids come up with. It's just, you need kids.
The magic of the bizarreness of children.
Yes.
I mean, I have nieces and nephews, but I'm trying to think. I was writing something about them the other day, but now I forget. I don't know.
Your
So you
cousin,
try to work it into conversation if you can.
your cousin Julie is really funny too.
Julie's hilarious. The Peterson family, all of them are so funny, and I've always been envious of them for that because it's just like they're speaking and it feels like they're on stage. Like they're like, so, and they tell a story and it's just like the whole room's like, what then?
Wait, what's going
This
on?
is hilarious.
What are they going to say next? Yeah, I love that. So how are you handling this whole thing right now? I mean, things are just nuts. Like, are you getting much material out of all this, or just like things are just crazy, At Babylon Bee,
Yeah.
like you read some of the Babylon Bee stories and it's almost not funny because it's too realistic, like something that would have been absurd a few years ago is like too realistic to be funny now. Like,
What's the best? Yeah, oh yeah. Oh, I get it. Yeah, it's insane right now. I mean, the fact when we talked the other day, what was the White House was being raided,
right.
and not a thing that I would ever assume would actually happen.
Ever. No.
I just thought this is absolutely ridiculous. But so I mean, yeah, there's a degree of nervousness and well, frankly, sadness. I mean, to me, it was depressing to see that
Yes.
type of thing. Um, and I think humor can come in very quickly there because you need to, like some of the things that I've seen different memes about it, that I was like, well, I'm glad they did this because one person posted the guy who was stealing the podium,
Uh-huh.
right?
Right.
And they said, agree with this guy or not, you got to admit he's taking a stand. I'm like, that's really funny.
Yeah, and I
And
saw one too
because
where they had what's his name from um, National Treasure. They show him in the background,
Nicolas Cage, yeah,
yeah.
it
They
was
so
all a distraction.
they stuck him in the, yeah, he's in the back like sneaking off with the Declaration, right?
The Declaration. That's the thing is we can get these things can weigh us down so much. And honestly, if you think about it too long, you get super depressed. The truth is, this was a micro. There's so few people who have this opinion in the United States that the White House needed raided. Um, the fact that there are people that have that opinion, yeah, they're out there, they exist, and it sucks. But at the same time, it's like, do you know how many people have that, like, that type of viewpoint? It's so few. So we should be able to just go, let's make fun of it. And
Right.
we don't have to like be afraid of it either. That's the other thing that I think humor does is it takes the fear out of things so quickly.
Mm-hmm.
Um, if you can joke about it and stuff like that, I just think one thing that I hear people say sometimes is too soon. Oh, it's too soon about that or
Right.
whatever. And I understand that in terms of tragedy, but at the
Right.
same time, um, this is how we're going to cope. Um, or this is how some people choose to cope. I'm not saying everybody has to cope through humor, but some people are going to choose to cope through humor. So
Mm-hmm.
I kind of go, hey, if you say too soon, you're telling people, hey, you can't cope right now. And I think it's perfectly okay to just to let people joke, you know,
Right.
and let people enjoy the moment. So when people were making fun of the White House mess, I was like, it's great, man. Soon enough for me because
Yeah.
this was freaking me out,
Yeah.
and we need to be able to just laugh about it.
Well, and the thing is, things are going. We, as members of our church, know that things are going to continue to get worse, right? I think everybody else probably sees that now as well. Things are just going to continue to get worse. They're not going to like turn. Nothing's going to like turn around overnight, and everything's going to be all good. So we know we're in the last days. So let's start figuring out how we're going to get through this. Like, you could go into total depression, or get very angry, or stay very anxious. And there are stuff that you have to do, and you have to focus on. I'm like focusing on getting prepared. I'm like collecting water and stuff like that, right? I'm doing a
Right?
lot of things, but at the same time, I'm not signing up to be angry or afraid or anxious. And so I'm sure I will be part of the time. But if I can relieve that periodically with humor, I'm going to do it, man. And I'm going to help other people do it, because like, you can find the absurdity. It's really easy to find the absurdity when things get really crazy. Like, the more chaotic, the more absurd they are, right? So why
Right.
not? Like, it's just really easy to do that, even if it's just in your own head. But there are so many great memes, Facebook and stuff, that I'll
Oh
share.
yeah.
Yeah, I don't care if it goes against my political beliefs or whatever. I don't care if it's funny. Let's share it, because let's help each other through this stuff.
Yeah, that's true. You might even be, yeah, maybe you are on the side that goes, hey, I think the White House did need raided.
Well, first of all, it was the Capitol building, but
Oh
I
yeah, I said
know
the
I
White
think
House, didn't I? Dang
no,
it, the
they went
Capitol.
into the Capitol building, they got into Pelosi's podium and all this crazy stuff. And no, I don't think
Well,
I
no, I mean not you, but maybe
right,
somebody listening or something like that. Even still, I think even that person could find humor in
right.
it
Well, they could
and be
still
able to just
enjoy
laugh.
Nick Cage taking the Declaration out during that whole thing happening.
Yeah,
I mean, if you can't find the humor and stuff, you're not going to survive very long in this current climate that is we're living in.
yeah, yeah. It bums me out sometimes how the politicians seem to be having so much more screen time right now than
Yeah,
any comedians,
yeah. We
and it's
need the
just like,
comedians right now,
yeah,
man.
you guys listen, you politicians, you do your thing, and let's let our comedians do a little bit more,
Yeah.
uh, um, just because we need to laugh at it. And I know every comedian tends to be joking about politicians right now, and that's fine. Everybody can have their topics. To me, right now, it's a little bit like soggy cereal. It's like, look, it's good for a while, guys, but I can't keep being like, did you see the Capitol Hill guys? They're all dumb. And it's like, yeah, good job.
That was
Come up
David
with
Carvey. That's
another premise, please.
yeah.
That's my opinion. My opinion on it.
Well,
Like, I just think, like,
there's so much. I mean, there's COVID, there's lockdowns, there's so much right now. There's just so much that we can make fun of. I mean, it's just
yeah, yeah. I was fine with like. There's a point when I just kind of went, all right, we get it. Trump's.
yeah. Your volume just went down again. I don't know what.
Oh, really? Is it because
Yeah,
I'm leaning forward and back? It just is dropping in and out.
yeah. It's weird. Maybe lean forward a little bit. Maybe you need to get right.
Hey, don't be weird, volume. Boo! It's gone again.
Yeah. Keep talking.
Can you hear me okay?
Maybe
Sorry.
it only likes it when you're extra funny, because it's not. Yeah. Keep talking.
Is it
Talk
like
some
if
more.
you're not
Talk some
being
more.
funny? If you're
Like,
not being, huh? We're just gonna keep
there he
talking and
goes
adjust the
off
volume.
camera.
I don't know why it's doing that.
Yeah, we can't hear you at all back there now that you're off camera again.
How about that?
That's actually a little better. Okay, sit down.
It's my, how's that?
Now it's okay. Keep talking.
Super duper, super duper.
Yeah, you're gonna have to stay close to the computer. There's something, I don't know what the deal is.
Oh, it's probably this, it's got some filter on it that it's trying to do. Um,
Trying to filter out the unfunny stuff and only leave the,
yeah, it's like if he says anything that's not
it's
funny,
it's broken.
it's a special mic that I bought for the pandemic. to make sure I'm on the
A
ball.
pandemic mic?
It's because I started to gatekeep on what people can write jokes about, and it was like, don't do that.
I thought you
They
were going
let
to say it
people.
was like COVID proof or something, like it's not going to
Yeah,
hold on
I
to
mean
the.
that's true. Everybody does get to joke about whatever they want to, so I guess it's fine. I just would love to see a more variety of jokes
Yes,
on main time.
I agree. And the thing is, too, one of the things that bothers me about like recent TV is that they're all like caught up now on pandemic. Like they're all wearing masks and they're all like, being super cautious and whatever. I'm like, I don't want to see that when I'm watching TV. I want to forget what's going on with, COVID and everything. And so I actually like the shows better where they're pretending like it hasn't happened at all. Or like there was one show, I think it was, I can't remember which one, but they did like one season of it. And then at the end, they said, we're not going to do the COVID thing anymore. So we're going to pretend like, this is 3 years in the future. And they dropped
Oh,
the whole thing. And I was like, thank
cool.
you. Thank you. And so sometimes from comedians, maybe I don't want to hear anything at all about it. Like maybe do a few jokes and then move on to something completely different so that,
Right. Yeah, there is something with you can only have a certain flavor so long, right? Where you just eventually go, it's too much.
yeah.
Yeah, I understand that. I
And
do on my live shows right now, I do definitely do some COVID jokes for a while, and then eventually you move on to regular stuff just
yeah,
because we want to hear that.
that's
And
a good way to handle it, I think. Yeah, get the COVID stuff out of the way. You address it, or it's like the elephant in the room, the sick elephant in the room, and then you like move on to like other stuff. Because yeah, we want to escape some of this stuff for a while, you know.
we do, we do.
But
Yeah,
how
it's
can you
been too
ignore
long.
things like when you go into a theater and you go into the bathroom and like every other sink is taped off? Like, that'll keep people apart. Don't you
Don't
stand
you
next
wash
to
your hands here?
don't stand next to the
Uh,
bathroom.
Jokes on them, right? I washed my hands in the tape sink. Yeah, I don't know. It's weird because now I think the reason everyone like on television where the newscasters will be like just the weather outside today, and you're like, really? Like, how are you that close to your cameraman? And my other thought is, so did you guys drive to that location together?
And did you have masks on the whole time in the car?
And I'm sure they did, but there is only a certain effectiveness with the mask.
Yeah.
There's a point where it's eventually, and I'm still pro mask, but
Well, only
I
the
don't.
puppet that is also your sleeve on your sweater. But people have to watch YouTube if you're not watching this, people. Because
So happy. The puppet doesn't have a mask. Dang it, it's not working. But anyways, I just think it's funny sometimes. But I've been, mask shamed myself where, because all people come up after shows or whatever and like, can we take a picture or something like that? And I'm like, sure. So, and sometimes they'll be like, can you take your mask off? And I should just say no.
uh-huh.
But oftentimes I'll be like, yeah, we'll just hold our breath, you
Oh,
know.
yeah.
But people get, and I understand, and they have every right to be frustrated. Like, hey, don't, people look to what you're doing
Well,
to
and that's the other
follow the
thing. It's
example.
like super polarizing. Everything like there's just been. It feels like everyone's just like falling on one side of the fence or the other,
Hmm.
and I don't like that. I'm not comfortable with it. I don't. It's not fun. And so comedy should be another thing that can unite people. We can all laugh at ourselves, right? People. That should be something that we can do, right?
That's what I would hope. Yeah, there's so much that's trying to separate right now, and I don't know. Who your listener audience is? You and I both belong to the same faith,
Yeah, I
and
think most of the audience is our faith. Is my guess.
yeah. I think that division is part of what we believe is
Yeah.
the adversary
Yes.
is trying to break everybody up, and
Yeah. He's doing a darn good job with that too.
yeah, yeah.
He's got it down.
Oh yeah, very well, very well. So I don't know. Hopefully we can have more unity and just like live
If we could just
carefully, like I love the idea of changing the word social distancing to physical distancing.
yeah.
Because I think we still absolutely need sociality. We need to be social, but we can be physically distant but social, you know.
Demented and sad, but social, right?
Exactly. Under our weighted blankets, crying, but social.
That you do recognize that quote, don't you? Or are you too young?
Demented and sad?
But social?
Oh, I don't know
Oh,
that.
it's
What is
Breakfast
it?
Club. Sorry. I forget. You're of a different
Breakfast
generation.
Club?
Yeah.
Oh,
Those of us that are like 80s
I
movies.
know the movie, but yeah, that's true. I don't think I ever saw it.
What were you doing just now with your sweater?
That was me being under a weighted blanket.
Oh,
That was
weighted
me being demented and sad but social.
blanket. Right. I do like weighted blankets, though. They're nice. They're
Yeah, I've I bought them during the pandemic.
a little ET thing going on. Oh, no.
It does feel ET-ish, yeah.
That was another movie from the 80s you might have heard of.
Oh, yeah, I know ET. Yeah.
Yeah, there was a little pause for a second there. That's one of the joys of Zoom, right? You're talking and then all of a sudden the other person's like, but,
Uh, Hopefully you catch it at a weird spot.
yeah, hopefully it's not
It
like,
never pauses when you're looking nice. Yeah, it's always like,
yeah.
but
I've learned to do this. Just wait.
just all the time.
Wait. I did one episode where the guests was never in sync with her voice, was never in sync with her face.
Oh, that's so
Oh my
sad.
gosh. It was like we lost the sync at the very beginning. And the entire time I'm like, I can't tell when you're going to be done talking. That was very frustrating. Zoom.
It's been so weird. I don't know. It's been cool in some ways. I like to tell people because I had a show where I got to do I did a Zoom comedy show that went to Abu Dhabi. My little brother used to live in Abu Dhabi, and I made some friends over there, and so they organized a show that was for people in Abu Dhabi, and Abu Dhabi has a ton of expats, so it ended up being a show that was Abu Dhabi, Italy, and London, and I think Sweden. And so it was this really fun dynamic where we got to talk to people from all around the world and get their take on the pandemic and get their, like, how's it going there? What are you guys doing?
Oh,
You know?
that's cool.
And it was really neat.
So it was all virtual?
Yeah, just a Zoom show. But I do have that problem that whenever I'm talking to someone with an accent, you have this thing where I guess it's called mirror neurons, right? And you hear the way they say words and your brain's like, do it like that. And then, so I was talking to the Londoners and they're like, do you have COVID? And I was like, no, but maybe a little bit. Like, I didn't know how to, like, it was just so fun to hear them speak.
Right. So did they think you were
and the way they
mocking
say
them?
corona, like corona, it sounds cool. They make it sound fun.
It does. It sounds like it would be more fun in London to be locked down because of COVID.
To be locked down. We're all locked down in the pub. Yeah. Yeah, it sounds like it'd be way more fun.
So was it entirely an English speaking show then, or was it like?
Oh yeah.
Because I was just thinking some jokes might fall flat on other,
If you don't understand the language.
Yeah, that would be a little problem. But also, like, just, if there's some stuff that's purely American that the Italians are like, I don't get it. Why is that funny? Kind of thing.
Oh, yeah, there might be. It's interesting. Yeah, because there is cultural differences and stuff like that. If you're doing jokes about the pandemic, it works because it's worldwide. And stuff like that.
Not too soon for Italy either, because they've been.
Not too soon.
They did it a long time ago. They started out strong, right?
Yeah, they hit it. They hit it hard. They were like, this is how we do it.
They were the first ones on the scene, man.
Yeah, we all were talking about Italy for a while. I just can't believe it's lasted as long as it has.
And now that there's this new extra strength COVID out, right? Like, is this never going to end ever?
New extra strength. Did you try COVID-19? Try COVID-19 2.0. I guess it'd be COVID-20, right? It should be
Yeah, I
COVID-20.
guess. And I think we're gonna have to start wearing 2 masks.
Or I mean 2021 maybe. Well, it probably came out in 20. 2 masks, that would be
Yeah,
good.
2 masks for the new COVID.
Double your mask, double
One
your
when one
fun.
mask won't do. See, there's all sorts of stuff that can go with that one. But it feels like now it's like, oh, like the news wants you to be afraid. Like every time someone dies, look, this person died of COVID.
Yeah, I mean a notification came up right before we started talking where it was like US hits new record death toll. And
Yeah,
yeah, I mean and it's sad, but at the same time the news is very doom and gloom.
yeah. There's not a lot
And
of hope
I
for it.
think there is a degree where we can go. I think I try to listen to the CDC and Fauci and stuff like that, and they say, yeah, distance yourselves, but they also tend to actually say more, do live your life.
Yeah,
Whereas the news is like, don't you dare live your life.
I know.
And I kind of do a joke during my show that I feel scared to do because it polarizes people where I say the news is so doom and gloom and they love to be like, if you go outside today, you're gonna die. And we watch it and we're just like, okay, thanks, I'll be okay. Bye. Just
Pretty much. Well, when it goes on, I mean, it's going to be a year. They started talking about this last January, and so a year goes by, and I'm like, I'm still not afraid, and I'm still want to live my life. So, how much longer am I supposed to be afraid? Is there a time when it's okay to stop being afraid? Because it just, it feels like the news wants you to keep being afraid for the rest of your life. And I'm just
yeah, and I just I have a problem with the fear
yeah,
journalism. That's why I do enjoy joking about things. Not to make it like, I mean, we need to make some things light, um, but also just because it's like you can only control people with fear for so long.
yeah,
Um, I think yeah, absolutely. I still will wear a mask when I'm going out and I'll try to limit my contact with people and try to keep my distance and stuff like that. But if I'm afraid of everybody, um, I think that's just stirring the pot up for some kind of bad things happen when people get afraid.
yeah,
The reason people have guns isn't because they think they're funny,
right.
right? Everybody's afraid of each other. And I think if we could minimize that, which is unfortunate and honestly a little bit irresponsible, I think, of the news.
Well,
Um,
it sells. That's why they're
it
doing it.
it sells. We click on it. We click on fear more than that. But I think humor, I don't know. There's part of me that's like, come on, didn't we learn anything from Monsters Inc?
That's right.
Humor is so much more powerful than
It
fear.
is.
Yeah. So,
Is that where you learned your craft?
yeah, I used to be on the scare floor. Uh, it's pretty intense.
You do kind of have a Jack Nicholson thing going on today.
Right.
I don't know if it's the hair or
I am not very scary. No,
sweater. This is,
could be the cardigan. My
yeah,
basement's cold.
yeah,
Yeah,
sweet.
it's a chilly basement.
All right. So where are you going to be? Like, are you doing anything this weekend? Or when's your next show? Your next live show? I know I've got the Dry Bar Comedy app now, and so how does that work? Like, people can just come on there and find some of your bits.
Sure. Yeah. If you have the app, just you can search my name, Steve Soelberg, and I have two specials on there right now. I recorded a short set. They wanted to joke about COVID. They did some stuff. I recorded it a while ago, so I don't know if it's too old by now. It's so funny, right? Humor right now feels like it's so fast. Excuse me, I have like a weird burp thing. That's
You know, what's
embarrassing. I've had some hiccups. I don't know if anybody else gets hiccups like this, but I get attacked with
so
hiccups.
literal hiccups, not just like I've been running into some hiccups in my life lately.
No, no, yeah, literal. Like I'll be like, and it's loud. I'll do like one a day. I've I I don't know what it
So
is.
you waited for my
Great.
podcast to do.
Now I'm yawning. Doesn't make any sense. I've
Awesome.
had weird. I guess my throat or head or something needs stretched. I don't know. But yeah, just go on the Dry Bar app and you can see two of my specials. I think the third one will be popping up soon. It's only like a 10-minute short, just jokes on COVID. And yeah, otherwise just find me on yeah, search me on Instagram or Facebook, whichever you use, and I post there. I'll admit that I took a break a little bit during Christmas. I just was like, I just need to reconnect to my family and stuff like that, and just make happy and make myself happy.
So do comedians get sad too?
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. Most of them are.
Well, I was going to say, actually, I took a stand-up class like eons ago back in the day in Arizona, Tempe.
Oh,
And
cool.
that's what I discovered was everybody there, including me, we were all there for a reason. Like, this is kind of therapy. And
Oh yeah.
I think a lot of us have learned to cope with went upon life's billows, right? That's not the Pirates song. That's a different one.
That's a
But
different one.
yeah,
Good times
like
talk.
with humor, a lot of our stuff just comes out. And so it's better to laugh than cry, although I do plenty of that. But I remember a lot of those other stand-ups. It was like you talk to them away from like the club, and it's like, man, these guys are depressing. I don't know. Everyone was just kind of sad. So
Yeah, a lot of them. You can get into some great talks on what medications different comedians are on.
really,
Some of my friends where it's like, which one are you taking? All right, that's. And I'm trying to, right now I'm on no antidepressants or anything like that, so that's it's great, going great. But you do have to take time for yourself sometimes and just reconnect to, what matters and what motivates you and stuff like that. So for
and
me, it was
not
like and stuff.
not just Zoom, in person stuff.
Yeah, yeah. I needed real
I
life.
give hugs. I'm not afraid. So I give a lot of hugs, but because yeah, you have to connect for
Mhm.
sure. So are you doing when's your next live show?
Um,
'Cause
when
we have a
is
lot
my
of
next
Utah
live
listeners.
show? I have to look at my calendar because I don't have any in-person shows on my calendar right now that I um
But you're usually at what's it? Wise Guys, you said?
yeah, I'll probably be doing some live recording in I mean, fingers crossed, but I'll be in Philadelphia in
Really?
March.
Oh, so you're
Yeah,
actually going there.
second week in March.
Awesome.
Doing some comedy out there at the oh, I forget the name of the club, but it's who cares?
Yeah,
It's so far out there, none of you guys are going. But if you do live in Philly, hit me up, find me on social, and I'll let you know. Um, but yeah, otherwise, just find me on social. I announce when I'm doing stuff there, or stevesoelberg.com.
and it's Soelberg.
Yeah, just E's where you would put U's and stuff.
Right, right. I
If,
guess so.
yeah, if you're
All right.
tempted to do SOUL.
All right. Any last advice for everyone as we're going through
Last
2020?
advice.
Yeah.
Oh, I would say, oh gosh. I mean, this is silly, but it's not meant to be silly. It just sounds, I think, know that you matter and that you're loved and that the person that needs to take care of you the most is you right away. Take care of yourself and then you can help others kind of thing. I don't know why that I wanted to say that. I don't know, it's not necessarily funny, but that has been one of the biggest things that's impacted my life is recognizing my own self-worth. Um, and I have to remind myself of that daily, actually.
Stay tuned for hour two. Well, we delve into Steve's inner child. No,
Dude,
that's awesome. I was just afraid that you were gonna end with wash your hands or something.
wash your hands, floss. I
Awesome.
mean, maybe floss if you haven't yet in
I think they
2021.
need to floss.
People
Yeah.
still haven't yet, I'm sure. And I'm talking to you. Floss. Feels good.
Yeah, and I think less time on news and more time on dry bar comedy.
Yeah, less time on news, more time just laughing. Enjoy
Yes,
whatever you want. Have some fun.
and wash your hands.
And wash your hands and don't touch your face.
That's right.
I touch my face.
All right,
I
cool.
haven't been out today.
Oh, and it's 2 o'clock in the afternoon.
Is it really?
It is.
Well,
Take care of yourself, Steve. You need to
Typical day for Steve. Who's been outside yet? Not this kid.
It shows. I mean, get outside, dude. You need to get out and get a
Yeah,
little
it is a sunny day here, so I should get out. You do need sunlight every day, so maybe that's what's up next.
Excellent. All right. Thanks, Steve. It was nice chatting again. And for all of you that are listening again, this podcast can be found on iTunes, Stitcher, Spotify, AnnetteTalks.com, YouTube.com/Annette Talks. Basically, just find Annette Talks and you'll find me. And thank you for listening to Annette on Life, Liberty, and Happiness, where freedom lovers gather.